Hi everyone, my name is Georgette Truan. I am the host for Relatives Fight CPS, and sorry for the starting at 1:49 today. We were having technical difficulties. Stacy is going to be with us shortly. She's trying to sign on as well. Um, so I guess I just wanted to talk about relatives, and this message is very important to especially the grandparents out there. When your children, the parents are fighting DCFS to, you know, be able to get their children back. DCFS will target the relatives first because they want to make sure that the family does not get any type of help whatsoever from anyone. And they want to make sure that they remain distant. That's the whole goal of Department of Children and Family Services. Often you guys think that the department is there to help children, but they're there looking at the children as merchandises that sells. And the seller, the highest bidder, are the ones who are trying to get the children to adopt. And that's the fastest and easiest and the cheapest way for people becoming foster care. Because you have two foster care systems. You have foster care for placement and you have foster care for adoption. So oftentimes when the child is under a certain age, they want to adopt that child and they place that child in a foster home. The law is made to reunify families, not to destroy families. So the funding that they get, they get it to help families and unify families. But what they do is they use that funding on the foster homes. They use the funding in other places that not necessary whatsoever, and they target the family and the relatives of the family.
I actually
So
learned something different, Miss G. Well,
I see.
similar. Hi. So I learned that there's two types of federal for funding. And the federal for funding for foster care and adoption does not have a cap on it for the states. So the states can keep going and going and going, and there's no limit to how much grant money that they can get through foster care and adoption. But um, if children stay in the family, there is a cap on how much money the states can get from Title IV funding. So that's why you see when there are suitable family members, they try to nitpick them apart and say they're not suitable so they can get the kids into foster care and adoption because the Title IV federal funding has no cap from what the states can receive.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Explains why we see what we see.
Um, they don't even follow their own rules, and I have a lot of family members who actually call me and say my daughter does drugs, and I just found out about it from the social worker, and I'm like telling the grandmother, for example, why would you think your daughter's doing drugs all of a sudden? Well, the social worker told me that she's been doing drugs and they found methamphetamine in her, and my daughter never told me. And the mother, of course, she's like, I'm not going to help her. I'm going to get my grandchildren. I'm going to take care of my grandchildren. But what you guys don't understand is that they're not going to leave the grandchildren with you unless you become a foster family, a foster
Yeah,
parent.
they really nitpick. Um, because again, that goes back to the Family First Federal Act of 2018,
Right.
and that was created recognizing that children thrive better when kept in the care of their families. And when you go to court and you watch, you see, and as you do, I'm sure in your practice, you see the cases are always trying to nitpick next of kin family members apart so that they can get the kids into the foster care system. And the foster care system, again, I talk about this often, the U.S. Department of State on Human Trafficking, every year they release a report. In the foster care system, it says this on this most recent report, June 2023, things have not changed for many years. Foster care is where most children who have been sex trafficked have experience. So we're we're kidnapping kids from family because of financial incentives and placing them into a system where they're vulnerable to sex trafficking at really high rates. I'm seeing reports as many as 80% of sex trafficked kids come from foster care.
Hmm.
Terrible.
And also another thing, I'm just reading a text message from my gal. Remember the one I was talking to you about that resigned from the department? She said, "I'm watching your show right now, and you are absolutely right. All they want are the children who are born, especially the brand new ones, fresh from the mommy's stomach, from the mommy's wound. All they want is to put that baby in an adoptive home. But what they do is that they mislead the relatives, mislead the grandparents. For example, she says, 'I wish I can be with you on the show, but you know the circumstances. I'm so sorry. I love you. Keep up the good work. You're doing a great job, you and Stacy, exposing these people, and keep on exposing them. And I will help you behind closed doors.'" There you go. So she's very pissed, very pissed that there's a lot of stuff you guys don't understand, especially the relatives. I'm begging you,
They
please,
will
I'm begging you, don't
they
listen to CPS.
even if you have a pristine home, pristine, they will manufacture false allegations so that they can kidnap your children for money.
Yep, and that's it. It's all about money, and grandmoms out there, and especially the paternal grandparents. You I know the paternal grandparents, especially grandmothers, because you're not maternal, you're just paternal. You don't see anyone good enough for your son, you know? And you often take the side of the social worker against that mother, when in fact, that mother is a great mom to her children. And even though you don't like her, but don't work against her with the department. Because at the end of the road, they're going to come after you, paternal grandma. They will come after you. We have a cases that involves foster homes, believe it or not. We have cases that involves a maternal grandmother who became a foster parent to take care of the grandchildren. They came after her saying she failed to fill out paperwork that they're supposed to do yearly, annually. The grandmother said, "Well, I was in the hospital. She had a appendix or something happened to her, and she had to have surgery. She forgot to complete the paperwork. So meanwhile, the kids were placed. They were there with the grandfather. Mind you, not she already notified the Department of Children and Family Services of her surgery, and they took that excuse while one of the children was 3 years old, took the children from her, placed the children in an adoptive home. The kids were adopted.
We have a case in New York right now, a woman that's been commenting on our forum that CPS took her children because she gives herself B12 injections, vitamin B12. And yes, you do injections for that. I'm a physician assistant, so I'll tell you right now, a lot of times we give it by injection. And they took the kids because the kids saw needles in the house and they took them from her custody. And she says it's only for vitamin B12 and they don't care.
Yep. But how did the kids see the needle? Was the needle laying around, or did they just see the mother injecting herself?
I mean, who cares? Because how many kids see a patient that's diabetic inject themselves? And you know what? Guess what? I work in healthcare. You know why I work in healthcare? Because my father was sick a lot when I was a kid and it inspired me.
See, see, that's pretty big. And what's sad about all this is that the grandparents and the relatives believe whatever CPS says about the parents. And that is so sad. So if you have any animosity between you and the mother of the child, or between you and the father of the child, please put all this aside. Be together as a family, because at the end of the day, that mom that gave you that grandchild or grandchildren, she deserves respect. She deserves respect. Just because she married your son, it doesn't mean she doesn't deserve respect.
I
You know,
tell people, Miss G, I tell people, look at cool your jets, because once CPS steps in your house, it's high stakes. It's like calling the traffickers to please come in and determine your child's fate.
exactly.
Do
Exactly.
not get yourself embroiled in this stuff unless we're talking acute blood loss, danger, danger, danger. Do not invite these people into your children's lives.
But they do, because what they do is social workers, as we both know, we all know, should know by now, they use demonic tactics. Anyone that is demonic, they use demonic tactics. They're sadistic idiots. And what they do is they try to ruin somebody's name, ruin somebody's reputation to gain what they want. And what they want is the attention to be all on themselves. And that's it. They want you to be focused on the social workers and not focus on helping the father or the mother of the children.
It's narcissism.
It really is narcissism, because all they want to do is praise themselves. That's it.
And put other people down to feel bigger of themselves.
Exactly. And that's it. They want to praise themselves and put down people to make them feel better about themselves. And that's all it is. So please, again, um, if
But
you,
let me just say, Miss G, again, if there's any social workers watching that are trolling and watching, guess what? Your supervisors don't care about you. So if you're protective of yourself and you're self-preserving and you're doing these things to other people, you will be the fall guy. They don't care about you either.
yep, but they know they're going to be the fall guy. They do protect the supervisors very much. They do. But to me, in my opinion, like, my gal said, she said, if they have in decency, decency, basic human decency, they would not allow themselves, subject themselves to removing innocent children from good parents, while leaving the ones who are abused in the harm's way of the abuser. And something like that, somebody who is allowing to do that, and to all the social workers watching out there, that only makes you sadistic. That only makes you evil and demonic.
You know, Miss G, there was one time where with court watching, I went in literally during my lunch break from work, and we went in and court watched, and because of our presence, witnessed a judge who is giving custody to a known pedophile change and give custody to the natural father instead of the stranger pedophile. We watched it happen during our lunch break, and I went over, right? And when I walked out of that courtroom, I felt a profound sense by helping two children, right?
Mhm.
How can you destroy families' lives with no profound sense?
Demons only do that. Demons do that, Stacey, because that's why I call them narcissistic, because a narcissist will hurt you and not feel any remorse behind the pain they cause you. And they will see a parent in tears and they will continue to hurt you. Because what it is, when a narcissist sees that you're in pain, what they want is control and power. How are they going to get the control and power? You feed them with that by allowing them to get to you. And
I
sometimes I fall all the time on that. You know, I,
it's
I, it's,
I mean,
we're human. We're
it's
human.
Miss G, it's like, when those two girls were taken out of the custody of a stranger pedophile and put into the custody of their safe father, it was such a profound sense because they're children. Like, the whole trajectory of their life is altered. It's changed for the better. It was going to be bad, bad, bad. And now they're with their safe father, right? And that's years that's affected. You know, if the average age is 80 and these kids were 10 and 8 or something like this, that's 70 years times 2. And when people harm children in this manner, trafficking them, putting them in the custody of pedophiles, putting them in the custody of abusers, sex trafficking them.
Yep.
That's how many years and years and years per child of an impact, of torture and horror. And they walk out of the room and eat their dinner just the same.
They don't have. I've seen a video, and this is the truth. I've seen a video of the husband was actually, the father was taking the video, and he was trying to keep it together. I saw a video of the mother on on the floor, holding on to the social worker's shoes. He was holding on to her feet, literally. He was asking like pleading to the social worker not to remove the baby. And you know what the social worker did? Oh, stop. Just get up. Just stop. You're being silly. Yeah, that's exactly what the social worker said.
Yeah,
You're being silly.
one one mother said to me when they took her children and gave them to the sexually abusive father,
Hmm.
the mother told me, you know, the social worker told me my kid's going to need a lot of therapy for this. They know.
They know. And that's true. My friend told me, well, the previous social worker said that to me, that what I'm talking about. She said that kids need therapy, and we know that the kids need therapy, but what they do, they go to their supervisor and say, there's nothing wrong with the mom. You know, there's nothing wrong with her. There's no need to remove that child from, and the father should be investigated. You know what the supervisor tells them? She told my girl, you need to go home and think about what you just said. Without these children, we don't have a job.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, that's all it is. Without these children, we don't have a job, she says. She said when she heard that the first time, she said something in her gut, like she said she had like literally diarrhea for a week. She couldn't eat, she couldn't sleep, she couldn't communicate with people. She said after that, she went to work, came back home, and kept asking herself, what the F have I done? What the F have I done? What if that was my baby? What if that was my child? What if that was my sister's child? What is that my brother's child? What is if that's my niece's child? She kept weeping. The following, well, it was a weekend, she said, but then Monday, she decided to resign. That day, that first day, her supervisor told her that if you open your mouth, if you speak to anyone about what happens in this unit or any department, I will make sure personally to remove every child you have in your family home.
And that's a cult. That is compliance by threat.
Mhm. That is the truth. And the sad part about it is that she kept accumulating evidence by taking screenshots. She was smart. They were both smart. Taking screenshots of the work phone, taking screenshots of the emails. I mean, these girls were determined to make sure that somehow somebody leaks that information. And that's why one of the girls, the people in their family was watching my show about CPS. And that was like last year, like no, sorry, the beginning of this year, I think. And they gave her the information to watch. And the other gal, I don't know how she found me, but she found me somehow. But again, at first I thought they were lying to me. At first, the truth is, I thought these were social workers undercover trying to meet with me. And I didn't trust them. I was so mean to them. I was so mean to them. I was like, you know what? Let's just meet. I don't trust talking to you over the phone. I don't believe anything you say. I met them and I was like, literally, sitting down, looking at them, looking at her like, I don't know. I don't believe you. She showed me her hiring paperwork, right? When she first got hired. She showed me um, the mileage she listed for her going to homes because they pay them for mileage and all that. They pay them for gas too. Um, she showed me the supervisor's emails to her, welcoming her to the facility, blah, 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 blah. So she showed me a lot of stuff. The other gal, the same way, showed me a lot of stuff too, a lot of things that she saw in there in the department. And these are from two different counties in California. Okay. Two different counties in California. And even the judges, she said, when they have their meetings, secret meetings without the parents, guess what happens in the secret meetings? She said sometimes, sometimes they'll have like a shot of something, a shot, to calm them down, because they had a hard day at work. Then they start talking about what are we going to do, what they're going to do for the weekend. Or they will start talking about a party that's coming up. Then somehow the parents' information goes in there, and then they start laughing. And then each one is saying, they're going to lose that baby. She's lying. Or he's lying. Oh, they're going to lose that baby. Oh, yeah, we're ready to adopt. That was in the beginning, before you even went to call an attorney, thinking you're going to win the case because you're a great mommy. That's exactly what they do. They literally smear campaign you while the judge is sitting there listening, and she's okay with it. She's okay with it. There is no order in court like you think. The order comes in front of people who are watching, because a sadistic person doesn't want to be exposed. So they have to make the other one bad so they can shine. You get it now?
And this is why, Miss G, in my hometown, um, Niagara County CPS in New York knowingly hired a sex offender. It was public knowledge at the time of his hiring that he was a sex offender. And because they hired somebody who is a sex offender to work as an attorney for CPS, the obvious thing happened, and he raped several women and sex trafficked a 16-year-old child in DSS custody. He got 6 months in jail. That's it. And he just got declared a level 3 sex offender, and today he got deemed a violent sex offender. That was the court hearing today. It was determining that he is a violent sex offender. It is no surprise, with what we are discussing today, that he was hired with it being public knowledge he was a sex offender. That's the CV they sought to do these types of things.
Wow.
It's not mistake, it was by design.
Exactly. So the truth is in front of them, but they will deny the truth. Example, if you work with someone, right, in the office, and that someone, although you have evidence and facts to back you up, they will never see that as truth. You know why? Because a narcissist will keep on sticking to the lie because it sounds believable.
They play see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and they'll hide the evidence that's contrary to the narrative they want to create.
Correct. That's correct. I'll give you another example. In I don't know how many years ago now, 2 years ago maybe, there was somebody who did shows for us, and that woman texted me that her shows had so many viewers, more than me, and that I'm so bad. And I said to her, I said, but why do you care so much about the viewers so much? Because she never took it as doing something productive to help the public. She took it as she wants publicity, she wants viewers, she wants this, she wants the praise, all that. To me, at the end of the text message, I said, good luck and God bless. Because I never looked at this as viewers. My mission is to destroy CPS in any which way I can. And I'm not destroying a good entity. I want to destroy a very sadistic entity that thrive on pain of others, and they seek the pain of others. You know, later on, that girl that I was telling you guys about, later on, I checked, and other people that were watching her shows told me that she bought people to watch her shows.
Miss G, I'll always say, you, when you do your shows, you wear your heart on your sleeve. And if anyone watches your shows, we know you're sincere.
Thank you, Stacy. Now I'm
And
just,
when you play with fire, you get burned.
yeah.
And you might be flashy and shiny with some of your tactics,
Mm-hmm,
but when you play with fire, you get burned. So if you're
mm-hmm.
not sincere in this, you will disclose yourself.
Yeah, and
You
people will
will
see through
declare.
you. Yeah, and people will see through you. And the thing about it is, I'm giving you guys an example because even though you know the truth and you know what's up, a narcissist or a sadistic person, they're both the same, will always deny the truth. And they will do everything in their power to put you down
And
and
gaslight you.
and gaslight you and smear campaign your name so they can shine. All they want is the praise for themselves. If they see somebody else that people like, they're going to destroy them. Why? Destroy the relationship. Why? Because they want the attention to go to them. And that's exactly how the social workers are. They're controlling, they're power hungry. Same thing.
Well, it's
Same
kind of
thing.
gross, Miss G, because we're not playing cat and mouse here. We're not
Yeah.
playing games. These are real human beings and people's lives at stake. It's not a game of followers. It's not a game of shows. Yes, it is necessary to expose, but this is not a game.
No, it's not. It's not a game. And the thing about it is when people
And it's
I
also so serious. This is not this is not an opportunity to monetize. Yes, people bill for services, but they need to do their job too. This isn't, you know, oh, I do this job because I want to get this Cadillac today. These are
Mhm,
real human beings in their lives.
that's right. And oftentimes you guys are like struggling trying to find an attorney, especially in Pennsylvania. I've noticed that. In Pennsylvania, it's very hard to find an attorney that wants to handle CPS cases. In Ohio, Idaho, the same thing. New York, I can only count on my fingers how many, two, maybe, if that. And Michael, whatever his last name is, I can't. He's Italian, I know that, but he's attorney Michael, and he says he doesn't take every case. Obviously, he only takes cases that's brand new that hasn't been opened yet in a, what do you call it, in court, that doesn't have an open case.
The older cases that have been ongoing are harder to turn around, and they turn around a lot more slowly.
Well, with well, I've
It's
seen
easier to prevail in a case.
I've seen Attorney Davis work on older cases, and he won. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, it can happen, but
a
they
lot of
are a
work.
lot more work and they take longer
They do. They take longer. It's more
to
costly.
reverse.
Yeah, it's more costly. Um, it's just, if you don't have the money to keep paying attorneys, I suggest you call a CPS defense attorney immediately. Be careful when you search Google, because Google will show you CPS defense attorneys. Because I've seen a list of CPS defense attorneys, over 174 of them in one state. But then when I called all of them, guess what they said? Sorry, we don't handle that. Sorry, we don't. Then I came to the middle of the page in my Excel worksheet and I said, wait a minute. So why are you guys listed as CPS defense attorneys? She said, I don't know. She said, we have no control over that. So
Well,
guess what?
I
Yeah.
think too, Misty, I think sometimes they list that because then they're hoping people will call looking for it and then they can refer to their racket buddies too.
No,
and get a
because I
referral
asked
to
most
you?
of, no, maybe, but no, I don't know about, well, I asked most of them and I said, do you have anyone that you can refer me to? And they all said, no, we don't know. So if that was the case, then they would have referred me to the,
Referred to, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but they didn't. And they said, and I asked then and asked another attorney, I said, why do you guys not handle CPS cases? It's just family law. She said, honey, CPS is the worst thing an attorney can ever go through. And I said, but don't you want to help families? She said, yeah, we want to help families. But it costs a lot of money, and these families cannot afford us because they don't target families that have money. That's why they want to destroy the relationship between you and the paternal grandmother. They want to destroy the relationship between you and the maternal grandmother. It doesn't matter if it's an uncle, aunt, best friend, it doesn't matter. They will destroy your reputation just to come after your child. Remember that. The reason Stacy and I are doing this is because we know there's a lot of innocent moms out there. We know that there's a lot of innocent dads out there. Because once you've been walking through the fire and you know you're innocent, you want to help those who are innocent too. And that's when you become a stronger empath. Before you were just an empath, a gullible, naive, stupid empath.
Not just to mention, Miss G, when you
Mhm,
say innocent parents, what does that mean, right?
mhm,
Um, you don't even need to be pristine in my eyes. There are
mm-mm.
so many suitable parents that have taken their kids away.
Correct.
Suitable parents having their kids taken away. And that's horrific too.
And
Because
even
research says kids thrive best in their family. So if a parent is suitable and they're taking kids away, like that poor crying grandmother, like her image in my mind, how
but
heartbroken she is and how significant that bond was with her grandchild. And they destroyed that family and broke those hearts.
yes. And we I have another grandmother who's been crying day and night. Day and night. They killed her daughter. Her daughter died. She was taking care of the children. She loved her grandkids, her and her husband. And then a social worker or guardian ad litem was on video chat with her. The grandmother, she said she tends to talk while she's walking, you know. So the guardian ad litem told the judge that she heard the grandmother said, "I don't care about these kids. I don't want to keep them. I don't want to adopt them." That's what she said. Guardian ad litem said that to the judge. The judge said, "Okay, well, the judge already hates, the grandmother because she's stopping them from the funding, right?" So she's like, oh yeah, you know what? I don't think we're gonna place these children we're gonna keep these children with the adoptive family, and the adoptive family are famous people that you've seen on TV. These family cannot have kids, so they wanted to adopt kids who have blonde hair, blue eyes, just like them. So they targeted these kids way before, and their relationship with the social workers was very strong. So basically, they went to the higher, better, can't say it,
Bitter.
but yes, to give these children to. While the grandmother and her husband, who is the grandfather, dying inside day in, day out. And these people are exposing their children everywhere on social media, but they would block their faces with like a heart. They would hold hand to hand. You know, they make the children look like they're happy and they're not happy. And what they do is they give children things just to get that smile. But the child always remember mama and papa and mama because they will call their grandma mama and papa. So stuff like that, that really hurts in ways that You can't, there's no way to mend a broken heart. Absolutely no way to mend a broken heart. And when I see the social workers laughing and smiling at the pain of the parents or the grandparents or the relatives or whatever, all I see is a demon. That's all I see is a demon. Demon, literally demons everywhere in that department. There's not one legit one in there. There's not one. Find me one good social worker, one good social worker, and I will bow down to your feet and kiss it because there aren't any. The good ones resign. Remember that, Grandma. The good ones resign. Say something, Stacy, please.
No, I think, I was just thinking as you were saying this, Miss G, when I shared today's show on groups, I'm going to call it Demons in the Department.
Demons in a department.
Demons in the Department.
Good for you. That's it. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm gonna share something, a true story. I called my aunt. She lives in Egypt. I called my aunt to see how she's doing. She's actually 89 years old, and my cousin has to put the video. She doesn't know anything about computers. She had to adjust the video for her, and she's like, talking to me like this, and I can see her face like all the way to the camera. And I'm like, Auntie, sit back. And she's like, honey, I can barely see you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be like that one day. Because I can barely see me too with the glasses. Then I said, Auntie, I'm going through a lot. And she's like my mother's mom. I mean, my mother's sister. So she's the closest one to me. So I said, Auntie, you're the only one living soul I have right now. And, you know, I need help. I need you to guide me. And I told her, I said, there's a lot of demonic people in the world. And I told her what's going on and everything I was going through. She said to me, she said, honey, demons see the light in you. When they see the light in you, they know that you are with God. When they see that light, they attack you for no reason. They start retaliating against you. They start bullying you. They start making sure that you're destroyed in any way possible.
That is some true wisdom there.
Yep. And I said, but Auntie, how do you get rid of them? What do you need to do? Like I said, I get angry at them. I talk back, I yell back, I scream back. And she said, no, don't do any of that. She said, what you need to do, darling, is pray. And the more you pray, and the more they know that you're not fazed by what they're doing to you.
That's right, Miss G.
And I told her, I said, it's so hard to pray for your enemies. And she said, sweetheart, it's like burning coil on their heads. Because they will reap 1,000-fold of what they sowed. And they're going to reap in so many different ways that they will not be able to stand the judgment of God. And she said that to me, and I just kept crying. I just kept crying. And she said, get up, wash your face, and wipe your tears. And I want you to go have a good cup of coffee. I said, Auntie, that's the last thing you should tell me to do. But in Egypt, coffee is like water. Everything is coffee and tea, coffee and tea. And she said, just have a cup of coffee and just talk to God. She said, have communication with him. That's all she said to me. And
She's right.
I want to read a prayer. It's a short prayer. She told me to pray against the enemy. And I hope you guys really use that prayer in day in, day out, okay? Um, she said that she told me is to silence the lies of the enemy, right? So I translated it the best way I could. Lord God of truth, I call upon you to silence the lies and the accusation of my adversary, well, enemy. Let me put it to you that way, enemy. In the face of the falsehood and deceit, I declare the truth of your word against all lies. Grant me, O Lord, the wisdom to discern truth from falsehood and the strength to stand firm in your righteousness. Let your light expose the darkness of deception, and may the lies of the enemies be silenced in your presence. With unwavering faith in your truth, I declare victory over the falsehood that seek to harm me. I stand firm in the knowledge that your word is a shield and your promises are my refuge. In the name of Yeshua, I proclaim your truth. Amen.
That's a very, very, very valuable prayer, Miss Jean.
Thank you. She's a good woman. I really did come from a great family. All my family, the paternal side and the maternal side, they prayer warriors. Prayer warriors. I'll give you an example. Last year, um, I knew somebody. There's a lot of people that do witchcraft. I've noticed. I met somebody who did witchcraft, and I didn't approve of that. And I walked away from that person. I told her, I said, "You're sinning, right?" She said that she's going to destroy me. And guess what happened? I told her, I said, "You go ahead and try." She tried. Everything was like she tried. Then I told my aunt, I remember, and my aunt told my other aunts, and then my cousins, and then, everyone told everyone. They started praying. That woman was in the hospital, dying, dying. And she said to me, she called me from the hospital, and she said, "Please forgive me. Please forgive me." That's what she said. I said, "Don't ask me to forgive you. I forgive you a long time ago." I said, "You need to ask God to forgive you. That's the one that has the authority to put us all in hell. But he's so merciful, and he will understand, and he will hear you." That's all I told her. And that was the last I heard of her. So oftentimes people don't understand that the evilness that you create in other people's lives, especially the social workers who create pain, they're going to reap a thousandfold of what they do. And when they reap it, there is no coming back. There's end. Unless they repent. Unless they repent.
Miss
So,
G,
yeah,
I am a successful person, and I owe my success to my belief that when you do the right things do happen. And
yeah.
sometimes the right thing to do is painful, sometimes the reward is slow and later on. But when you do the right things do happen. It's immediate gratification and greed
Hmm.
will burn you in the end. There's no long term gratification.
There is none. No. And don't pretend to be Christian because God knows your heart. I've seen people who pretend to be Christian to gain followers on YouTube's. I said to myself, I said, but how can you pretend? You can't pretend. And I get so angry. And my aunt said to me, she said, the problem with me, she said, the problem with me is that I feel people's pain. So so basically when somebody's in pain, I feel it's happening to me. And that gets me in trouble because I fight for that person or I fight for people's, how can I say it? It affects me. If I go to the hospital and I see somebody cut, this hand where he or she was cut, it will hurt me like it was cut. It will burn me and ache me like it's my pain. That's why I cover my eyes. I can't watch movies like crazy, like scary movies or bleeding movies or cutting movies or killing movies because I feel the pain, even though I know it's a movie. Does that make sense? It's weird, but it becomes so you guys' pain becomes my pain. And just seeing a mother in pain, I cry with them. I cry with them because stealing your heart from you Literally, it's worse than a knife being stabbed behind your back, because you want to watch your child grow. You want to see your child play. You want to see your child's first steps. You want to see your child's first dance. You want to see your child's first crush. You want to see your child say, "Mommy, make me cheesecake today." Or, "Mommy, I want to go to my friend's house and play." Or, "Mommy, I want to see this movie with you." That's painful to not be able to see or experience this relationship with your own child. Becomes leaving the mother so helpless or the father so helpless, because especially dads too, because they want to be the child's hero. It's so hard for a mother to stay at home not knowing her child is safe. That's what I feel. Oftentimes I hear people saying, "Some people lie, Miss G, don't believe everyone." Well, I'm gonna believe everyone until they prove me wrong. But either way, you never steal a child from a mother that loves the child. It doesn't matter if the mother did drugs in the past. It doesn't matter if the mother. There's oftentimes mothers and dads are introduced to drugs without even them knowing what they're doing, because other people are so evil. They would put things in their drinks, or they were constantly drugging them, and they don't know what's going on, and they want this again because now they become addicted to it. So you don't know the life of a person. You don't know how they got there. So if that's the case, that doesn't mean they're bad parents. They're not locking their children up and beating them and burning them with cigarettes, or putting them in a closet and raping them over and over again. That's different. Those are the ones the social workers see as damage, and they don't want them. So they keep them there to get raped over and over and over again. It's horrible what they do. These children grow up to be so broken. They have absolutely no faith in any human being out there. Absolutely zero. And we care more about our viewers and how this and that. That is so crazy to me, because these children don't care about all this shit. They just want to be with their families. That's it. That's all they want to do, is be with families. I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry.
No, Miss G, you're beautiful. And it's okay to see someone cry, because too many people don't cry and too many people don't care. And I thank you for caring.
Kids are precious. Kids are the future. They're very important. They don't need to suffer. They don't need to think about mommy and daddy or grandma. What happened to grandma? Or why doesn't grandma love us? And it's just, to me, it's just.
Evil.
So be kind to parents who are dealing with evil. Be kind to them. Don't make matters worse and talk down at them. Grandparents, open up your eyes and just see that this corruption is real. It's so real. So please, I'm begging you, support your kids, support your grandkids. Stay away from DCFS. Do not believe them. Please, I'm begging you from the depths of my heart, do not believe them because all they want is your grandkids. They want to sell them. All I can say is don't judge others, okay? Don't judge them. Don't judge them. And don't think a parent lost a child because they're bad parents.
Help people to rise up.
Help people to rise up and be a support for one another. Be a support. If you had $25 in your account and somebody who's dealing with DCFS doesn't have money to go see her child, give them the $25. God will bless you. God will send you abundance and abundance of blessing. But don't say she did this to herself, or don't tell a father is already broken pieces for not protecting his family. Don't tell him it's his problem. Help people. You can divide the $25 and just say, hey, we'll share, you know, something. Just do something. Don't take from people. Help them. And God will help you. But you have to do it from the heart. Because if you don't do it from the heart, God is not going to know. He's going to know. He knows your heart already. He knows your heart. He knows it. But don't ever deny somebody who needs help. If they have no clothes or they want to go for a job interview, give them clothes or give them a suit or shoes. Do not ask for it back. You give. You keep giving and don't judge them. Help them get a job if they're jobless. Help them stand on their own 2 feet. Help them get a place to live. But don't judge them. I've seen so much happen in the world since I got involved with this DCFS crap that I've seen people divide instead of unite. I've seen people bust their butts just to help other people and they get nothing but pain for it. I see people work really hard and they get destroyed. But God is good.
Miss G.
I'm sorry.
No. There's no need to apologize for caring. It's hard. It's hard work that you do, Miss G.
I wish I could do more. I wish I was a millionaire or a billionaire or a trillionaire, I would help people. It would help a lot of people. That would give to a lot of people.
I know, Miss G. We all know because we know how good your heart is.
It's not, I don't even be praised about this. It's more of just, instead of dividing, just come together as people, as humans, as families, and just help others. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just to help other people.
Miss G,
Yeah.
I need to get back to work, and I think maybe you need to get some rest too. This is a bad day. It's hard.
I am. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to cry. I swear, I didn't
Please
mean to
don't.
cry.
Please don't apologize. Don't be apologetic for caring.
Stacy, thank you so much for your support and love, and I will never forget this. And I love you from the depths of my heart.
I love you too, Miss G. You're a real one. You're true. You're sincere.
Thank you. All right, everyone. I love you too. God bless you. I'll pray for you guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.